Hey! I'm going to tell you about a big fallacy. And it's so obvious that apparently only I can see it. I used to repair computers, number one person in the world for a period of time, for tech support on the MacBook Air. I am, even though I love Apple a lot and got a lot of Apple devices, I never liked Steve Jobs, and I certainly don't agree with everything Apple does. But let me tell you a fact. There's a few people on YouTube, one in particular, and this is not about him, but everybody loves to tell me about him. You know, where this guy, and he's got mad skills. You know, he whips on, his a microscope, and he does some micro desoldering. He'll take out like a motherboard, and he will identify the component, and he will desolder it, and he will fix it. Yes, yes, yes. That dude has some serious mad skills. There's just no denying it. His skills are not to be denied. And this is where everybody really, really screws up on this dude. And he's like, oh, Apple sucks so much. This was like a 20-cent part, and they wanted to charge a person $500 to replace the entire motherboard. Well, let me tell you where he's wrong. Let me first point out of why everybody takes his side and why they're wrong. Because it clouds their vision. Look, this guy's got mad skills. You know, Apple, and this is what people say in his videos. There's more than just this guy on YouTube. Well, I took my crappy old MacBook I spilled crap on. People abuse their laptops all the time because they're not too smart. I took it to Apple, and those arseholes at Apple wanted $500 to repair my old MacBook. By the way, your old damn MacBook is an obsolete, it's an old one. You should have replaced it ages ago. But I took it to this guy, and, he did like $100 of labor, and it was like a 10-cent. And this guy loves making videos. Oh, those idiots at Apple. Oh, God, I took this guy's laptop apart, and he shows you the videos. He's desoldering it, and, he fixed it, right? He's a 5-cent part, and he put in like $100 of labor, maybe. I don't know what his labor charge is. Apple said that, this was unfixable, or they wanted $600 to replace. All of that is correct. And people say, oh, man, this guy's got mad skills. And he does. And this is where everything falls apart. And why people are so stupid, they don't get the big picture. Okay? We have to look at the big picture. And Apple is not the only people that do this. They all do it, and there's a reason why they all do this thing that I'm about to tell you that he does not do. He's got mad skills with tons and tons and tons of expertise. He's got like 1 million laptops hanging behind him, and he's been nerding out on these computers for decades. Yes, he can repair that subcomponent. But Apple doesn't do component level repair, and there's many reasons, and it's not just Apple. All these people do the same damn thing Apple does. And if you're a big company, a billion-dollar company, whether it be Apple or IBM, Compaq, Sony, even Sony does this with their laptop, here's what they do. And this is the smart thing, and this is why Sony and Apple and all these people do this, and they don't do what he does, is that a laptop these days typically only has 6 or 7, depends on the laptop, 6 to 10 major components, yeah? What they'll do is they'll give a dude, like a zit-faced 20-something, right? A week's worth of training, because they have to have these guys all over the freaking place. A diagnostic tool and the training whereby which they only have to identify 1 of 10 things has gone bad. It could be up to 20, but modern laptops are really, really simple, okay? They only have to identify that 1 out of 10 part. It's not too hard. So Apple and Sony, the Sony Vios, HP Compaq, they all do the same thing. You only need to do, and okay, this is the part that failed in your laptop, sir or madam. It's going to be X number of hundreds of dollars. Or if it's like the main board and it's like an old friggin' computer and like you've had it for, it's like, this ain't worth fixing. We're not going to fix this. We don't have these components anymore because it's an old turd. You need to buy a new laptop. They don't tell you that, but that's what they should do. Oh, damn it, I took it to this guy over here and he fixes. Like, yeah, but we don't do component level repair. Two reasons why. This is so obvious to me, and nobody gets this. And this guy and several of these other people, they make YouTube channels up making fun, and I don't care who makes fun of Apple. I don't carry any water for Apple. Oh, Apple's so retarded, I repaired this component, and I whipped out my microscope and my 30 years of experience of fixing laptops, and I desoldered this little microscopic, mosquito speck of a diode, and it's like, you fixed it. Your skills are great. But it is economically unviable for Sony and Apple and all these other people to do that crap. They want to take a 20-something, give them a week or two of training, and identify 1 out of 10 parts that's foobarred. And you either say, this computer is economically unviable to, in other words, it costs way more to fix it than it's frigging worth because it's an old turd. Or like, this needs a $500 part. Because that's all these people are trained to do. And from the economic standpoint, you see, Apple and Sony and any of these other people are not going to train thousands and thousands of people with decades and decades of experience like that guy or other people like him. They're not going to do that because that would be completely brain dead, butt stupid. It would be butt stupid to the maximum level. You train the person to identify the problem, give the bill, this is what it's going to be to fix it. Your wagon noodle is broken. We need to replace your wagon noodle component over here. We're going to order it. It'll take 5 days to get in. It'll take 30 minutes for me to rip out the old wagon noodle and stick in the new wagon noodle. That is what these companies do because that's the smart thing to do. If Apple did what this guy or other people did, it's like, what we're going to do is we're going to desolder this microscopic component with my 30 years of experience, which doesn't exist. You just don't do that. So, why is it that I can see what none of these other people can see? What they do is they watch his videos or other people like him. He's not the only one on YouTube. They're like, man, this guy's got mad skills. Apple said this computer was unrepairable. But he stuck in like an hour's worth of work and like replaced a 5-cent component. And at the end of the video, he sits in his chair like this. He goes, yeah, Apple's a bunch of evil dorks. Because, they said this was unfixable and I fixed it. Well, you're right. You did. But Apple doesn't employ. They don't even employ 10 guys like you. Much less thousands of 20-somethings. Like, it's going to take 20 years to train you how to do this. It's going to take a long time, not literally that long. It doesn't work that way. Because it's economically stupid. You identify the major component or the major subcomponent. It's like, this is where the problem is. You remove it like a piece of Legos, because laptops these days are like 6 to 10 major components. You remove it, you stick in a new one, you figure up the bill, and then you hand it to the customer. That's the way these companies work, because that's the only smart way to do it. Did I make myself clear? I think you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I just said, you're either not smart or you're not smart. You just don't get it. Why can't they like train 10,000 people with decades of experience and whip out a microscope? You ever seen how small the components are on a main board? They do microscopic desoldering. Because it would be stupid. It's stupid. It is not, however, stupid for a single person with a single business to have a business like that. It's like, well, I'm going to fix all the crap that Apple wants to charge a lot of money for. Well, that's okay. It's like, you got the experience, you got the time, you got all the spare components. You could sit there with a microscope and, desolder something smaller than the proboscis on a mosquito. You can't even see the crap. It's so small. You got to use a microscope. The guy's using a microscope. His skills are not in denial. And people see those skills, and they're like, well, this guy knows what he's talking about. Well, he knows what he's doing. You know, there's no denying that, but his conclusion that Apple is therefore retarded, or dumb, or evil, because they don't do component level repair is 100, it's actually 1,000% stupid, dumb, incorrect, and flat out wrong. I rest my case. Period. Oh, Jesus Christ. I cracked myself up.